Hey, Mar.
Andrew!
What's going on? You get divorced again, I heard?
Yeah, I did.
Want to talk about it?
Yeah, I do.
All right, ready?
Here you go.
Welcome.
Do?
The
Happy?
Never
After.
Pod.
Podcast is one word.
I know, but that's why it's funny.
Oh, welcome to the Never After podcast. You have jizz on your face.
It's it's cream cheese. I had cream cheese on my face.
You have oniony jizz all over your face.
I'm Mar Merrick. I'm happy never after. We're here.
We're here, and I'm Andrew T. Collin. I don't wash myself after I cummed.
Okay, you know what? That was years ago.
That was 2 days ago.
Yeah, tomato cum. And we got Marshall.
I'm still not over it.
Get over it, boy, because I am dating a Harvard student.
Whoa!
No, not yet.
Not even got out
Not
yet.
even close.
Yet.
She probably ignored my text. What do I text? How long do I wait to text her?
When did she text you last? Wait, when did you get
I
her
got
number?
the number last night.
You still have onion jizz on your lip.
Okay, it's fine.
Well,
It's
could you
fine.
get it
I
off then?
It's in me.
It's over here on the side.
She's
Like
never gonna text you
like
back
a
at this
3-year-old.
rate.
Sometimes you make me eat fast, and then I get cream cheese.
I know
on me.
you do yell at us a lot, and we just want a minute.
Yeah, we just want a
Well,
fucking
they
minute
just come
to
here and
breathe.
eat their fucking bagels
Well,
from our supply.
You throw them out at night. We're just helping out the world. Heal the world. Eat a
Wait, we
bagel
can't sing
here.
anymore. We're waiting for you and the
Cream
entire
cheese
human race.
and jelly.
We're children dying.
But we'll keep eating free shit
dying. It's a better world.
with cream cheese
Than
and
me.
a toaster.
Especially with so much fucking cream cheese on your bagels, both of you.
I know. Well,
My
they're not
God.
good. You only eat the bagel for
Jewish
the
people
cream
don't
cheese.
do it that way.
He's a Jew.
I know, but he's
a
really-
Heb.
yeah,
he's
he's
a
not even a
kike.
good
What are
Jew.
the other?
You can't do
Good
that.
Jews don't come in their
Jesus
pants.
Christ. She
Jesus.
really just goes, you can't say Heb and kike on here. Can you?
It's not appropriate.
It's very far from it. I don't feel like she should be able to use that word. That's our word.
Oh,
You
God.
dirty kike.
I've never used that word in my entire life.
No, you
Have
don't.
You?
No, just the N word. A lot.
Nachos.
Yeah. Nachos.
Nachos.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, when would I use that word? It's not like in our, like,
Yeah, it's
Nobody uses the word.
except for you just now.
Yeah.
I feel like people feel like it's way easier. It's like open season on Jews. Like, whenever. I feel like Jews are like the
You don't think that Asians take a lot of heat?
Oh, don't. No, I'm kidding. But no, I think Jews are like a lot of comics will use Jews as like a punchline because they know
Mostly Jewish comics.
Well, they just know that they'll get nothing. No, that's not completely true. I just feel like they.
Name names.
No, I'm not gonna name it. But I just feel like it's an easy thing because no one like feels like they're gonna get attacked by Jews, even though.
I mean, because the Jews are like, oh, I would, but my kidney hurts. Isn't that what you just said? You guys love to complain.
Just sounds bad when she does it,
I
doesn't
know,
it?
totally.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know. We just grew up with a lot of persecution, and no one cares because we're all rich.
What do you think about Larry David and getting all that heat about his
I
bit?
thought that was so stupid. I mean, I didn't think the bit was that great. I didn't think it was.
Some
that,
people loved it.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it. I was thinking about watching it.
I
but it was
laughed.
like-
I laughed. I don't think any comedy and like, I don't know. It didn't. It seemed like it was on him. Like a lot of the stuff was like, I'm trying. What the concentration
Yeah,
camp bit?
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, Carlin wasn't widely accepted when he was first up there telling all those swear word and all that political stuff also. It probably just didn't get big until later. His audience grew.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Larry David has a gigantic audience.
Yeah, but not for that.
For
That's
what,
Curb.
stand-up?
It's
for-
just taboo to talk about concentration camps.
Yeah.
And hitting on chicks in the concentration
Yeah, it felt like a joke that some guy would tell at like an old, like at a golf course that like, hey, Davey told me that joke. What do you happens when you hit on a girl at a concentration camp? Where are you going to eat? I don't know. Let's go down to Chili's. Chili's? I'm chilly because I have no clothes or skin. Welcome to concentration camp jokes. You know, it seemed a little... But the other stuff was kind of funny. I thought, like, him being very particular, but also looking horrible. I could relate.
But that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It's the stuff that was inward
Yeah,
was
that was
funny.
authentic.
Yeah.
Authentically him.
Yeah. And he talked about Harvey Weinstein being a Jew. And he's like, we don't need any more bad press. You know. that was funny.
That was funny.
I think he was, Harvey's getting arrested.
He is?
I think so.
He
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
NYPD warrant.
For
Yesterday.
rape, right?
For the rapes.
No, for back taxes.
Money laundering, I think. Money laundering? That's
Yeah.
what he's in the news for. No, rape. Yeah. Sexual assault, I think it's called. Right?
Yes.
Yes. He's been accused by like 14 women now of not just sexual assault, like rape.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit. But if you have that much power, you get away with shit. And people will shut the fuck up because they need to eat and they want to be rich and they want to be famous. And he had the ability to ruin lives.
Mm-hmm. And he took every opportunity, which is great.
Yeah, if someone didn't fuck him, he literally got him blackballed.
Yeah. It's insane. What's her name? Daryl?
Hannah?
Yeah, she got kicked off the Pulp Fiction tour because she complained
Wow.
that he had done that to her. And so she got kicked off of the whole tour. Yeah. That just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Oh, it's fun being a woman.
yeah. A lot of Me Too's going out there. You didn't really realize how many. I guess you kind of know until you fucking read literally like 99% of people posting about Me Too.
What happens?
Yeah.
I got my ass slapped just the other day. That happens all the time.
Where?
I was standing at the bottom of the Williamsburg Bridge, about to go up the bridge. I was changing my playlist on my phone, and the guy slapped me on the ass and goes, "Yeah, you sexy though." And I was like, "Oh, fuck that!" And so I rode up and I rode past him, and I was like, "Don't you ever fucking touch a woman!" And then I got back on my bike and left. I was like pissed.
Sucks.
So when are you going on a date with him?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. He has all his hair, so I like him.
He's got like hair.
That's so funny. The guy lives on Nomad. He's a lawyer. He has his own boat, but he's bald. But this guy with hair slapped my ass, and I think I love him. I do think women, like, they joke about, I know you've joked about before, like, but you want the attention, but, like, if you don't get the attention, then you're like, well, am I still young
I only
and
want the
hot?
attention if they're hot.
That's like, but that's the thing with Harvey Weinstein too. Is like they're like, well, he looked like a rapist. He looks like a dirty rapist, and it's like, yeah, well, you know what? A lot of good-looking guys with dimples are fucking rapists too.
Yeah.
But like, we were joking about how like that's charming though.
You were like, yeah, but when he does it, it's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never slapped a girl on the ass. It's to think that there's no repercussions.
Well, they could have gotten away with it had they been faster on their bike. I mean, it's not like I did anything. I just yelled at them. But they were.
He was
fucking
on a
slow.
bike?
There was two of them.
And
And they were on fixies.
you were
I was
furiously pedaling.
And I was like, oh, first I'm gonna yell at them, and then I'm gonna emasculate the shit out of them, because I flew past them. I was like, oh, I used to be a pro cyclist. I got this. And they had fixies, like light ass fixies, and I have this hybrid mountain bike, and I was like, fuck them. So I just stood on top of my bike at the top of the hill, and I was like, don't you ever fucking touch a woman. And they're like,
you rode past them and then looked down on them?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Whoa.
Don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. Unless you leave me at a store.
Yeah,
then
just don't leave.
I don't cry like a little baby.
And you don't give me birthday cake. So what did they say?
Nothing. I got on my bike fast. I'm going to stick around?
What was the look on their face?
They were like, they were like 20.
Mm-hmm.
They probably were like, finally got a look at my face, and they're like, oh shit, she's old as hell. Did I just touch my mother? Almost finger tap.
Yeah.
Finger pop my nana.
That can't be the same woman that was at the bottom. You're telling me that old bitch rode all the way up here? How did she get up there?
Got an engine on that thing.
We slapped your daughter's ass on the bottom. You must be waiting for your daughter. No, that was me.
That was me.
I was gonna yell
That
at
was
you.
me.
I was gonna yell at you, but this hurts so much more. Slap my ass again. Don't make fun of my old face. I'd rather you slap my fresh, thinking my ass is young and fresh, than look at my old face.
Look at my old leather face.
My old leather bone.
No leather bone.
Oh man, that's funny. That's really funny.
I want to bring something up that you talked to me about. My Instagram.
Oh, what about it?
How you're like, so many people are judging your Instagram.
Yeah, we don't have to say names though.
I would never say
Yeah.
names. Mostly because you never told me.
What are we talking about?
So Mara puts up scandalous pics sometimes. You
Yeah.
know?
I've seen some of her tit shots.
Yeah, and my ass shots. I got to get closer. I keep rolling away.
Yeah, go ahead. Do you? Yeah, don't worry. Just keep it professional.
But dudes have been talking to Andrew about how
Well, not like, yeah, it's not. But there was just a moment where you were showing some pretty sexy.
Yeah, it's a bikini that you wear out on the beach.
The beach.
Out in public.
Well, no, it was lingerie.
Who cares?
I don't care at all. You could do whatever you want. You could show your fucking inside of your vag. I don't
My
give a
whole
shit.
job is fitness and performance.
Yeah. I don't
Right?
think, I think what happens is like, it's one thing if you're an Instagram model and your whole thing is like, look how fit I am. I'm fit, like your whole life. And then you're not going to hear that fit person then run for Senate or you're not going to respect their opinions that strongly if they're just known as being sexy.
Right.
A lot of guys feel that way. I don't think any women are. No,
Pigeonholed.
but I think that if a guy sees you wearing sexy, like made lingerie, and then you try to do a joke where you have strong opinions, some people will not listen or think your point is valid because you're showing your ass on whatever. But I don't agree with that. I'm just saying that's what happens.
Is that what people are saying?
Yeah, that's what happened, and it's not just with Mara. It's a culture thing with
It
women.
is.
It's but then a guy can
It's so ridiculous. It's 100% ridiculous because we live in our bodies all day long. Who cares if you work really hard and you want to show it off a little bit? Do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree.
Also, I have funny captions on there.
They're okay. I mean, that's the part that I want you to change. Just get funnier. No, I think.
But you made a good point about like Rihanna is not just her song; she's also her dance and her body and her performance. It's all a package.
But are they saying you're hypocritical because in one breath you're showing your stuff, but in your comedy, you're coming
My
down on people
comedy
who
is
do
pretty
that?
consistent with my.
So I don't
Yeah, your comedy is
So what are you
exactly.
fucking talking about?
Yeah.
You could be just more blunt with what they're saying.
No,
So
that's pretty
everybody
much that's pretty much it. No, but I mean, look, it's not like you do like strong political humor and like get to the bottom of stuff.
Right.
Like, it's a fun thing, and so is a picture on fucking Instagram.
Yeah, so it's all stupid, but they think that I'm demeaning my craft by
Yeah,
showing my
that
body.
you won't be taken seriously as a comedian because you're showing your body.
Okay.
Which is also, I feel like it's the same culture as when you get judged for wearing what I would normally wear in my regular life to go to a comedy club and do a performance. People are like, "Oh, you're dressed up." I was like, "No, this is actually just how I dress." Because everybody else just wears hoodies and jeans, hoodies and jeans, and I don't want to be like everybody else. The whole point is to not. You guys can just be who you are 100% of the time.
But you can't be a guy in jeans and a hoodie. Or
I
a
just
girl in
don't.
a
I'm
hoodie?
just not that.
Yeah, that's
Of course
fine.
you can be.
Yeah,
I just am not that.
but then you're
I'm
kind
not a
of
conformist.
reversing it.
But
when
you're
you-
saying all you assholes dress the same way.
Yeah,
Because you're trying to. Because some people are dressing that way just to fit in.
Yeah,
and I'm
but
saying
I think-
don't do that and
Yeah.
don't judge. Like if you want to dress a different way, dress however the fuck you want.
Agreed. And if you dress however you want, then don't then say the other person's conforming because maybe they're just comfortable and they don't do
No, I'm
laundry.
saying if that's not how they dress
Yeah.
and they are just doing it
I
to
agree with
conform,
I'm with you on
I'm
that.
qualifying it.
I'm with you on that. But I think there's conforming in any way you dress unless you wear like some kind of like the most absurd thing ever. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like Eddie Izzard.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, or what yeah,
Or
whatever.
it could be a costume that they're wearing. This could be your costume when you perform. What's wrong with that?
It's not only just it's just comfortable. I feel like I'm the funniest when I'm at my most comfortable.
You went through different stages. You're like, I think this is my look now.
Yeah, I'm
I
done
think
with
this
that.
is my look.
My look is
Yeah,
literally no look, and I'm okay with that. I think what happens as like an artist is you think being basic and not being original, it fucks with your head. And I don't think it's just with comedy. I think in anywhere in life, you don't want to be everybody else.
Right. I think that's also what happens when you start dating somebody and they start talking about their ex, and then you start getting manipulated by what the person's talking about their ex. You're like, oh, wait.
Am I like that? Is that what you're thinking? No, not like am I like. I'm saying, is that what you question?
Sometimes, I mean, I am persuaded by that a lot. Like if somebody's like, oh, this person does this, you always second guess yourself no matter what.
No, but is he complimenting his ex-girlfriend? Like, oh, I liked when she did this, and then
Are you talking about the chemist?
I'm just saying in
In general?
Yeah.
Yeah, my second husband used to do that to me
He
all
used
the
to talk
time.
about his exes all the
Yeah,
time? But
and
how?
they like came to my wedding, just like because one of the girls, Brittany, was like really short and petite, and like she was a flyer, and so was I. But I actually grew 6 inches after high school, and so she was like, "Yeah, she was just so tiny," and I was like, "Okay, how do I make myself more tiny?"
That's sad.
It was yeah. You think about those things all the time. It's really will kill you. It like will sit there, and I have that brain where I just keep thinking about the same thing over and over and over again until I can find a conclusion, and it will just drive me mad.
Why is that, though, you think?
I don't know.
You can't, yeah, I don't know. I think we value so much of people, or you worry so much about what someone thinks other than what you think of yourself.
Yes, that is my biggest problem. Is my self-esteem, I think. Yeah.
But do you think it is? Yes, I
What
do.
do you think?
Yes, I do. I do think your self-esteem is terrible. Yes, I do. Oh, thanks. Good. I just want to make sure.
I just want to be right about that.
So what do you do as a woman? How do you get over that?
Honestly, I've been boxing a lot, and it makes me feel badass.
Yeah.
I know this is really weird, but I was thinking about your daughter. Doesn't your daughter want to box?
She wants to, yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about how badass I feel every time I box. If I get my combinations right and I learn something new, I'm like, fuck yeah, and I don't need anybody else. I feel good the whole day. But if I don't exercise, then I feel terrible about myself. That is probably a bad thing. To get over that part. You don't have to exercise every single day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it just becomes it's a healthy habit.
It's a healthy habit, sort of. You can have anorexia, exercise bulimia is what it's called. Where you exercise more than what you eat on purpose. Like you count your calories and you keep exercising. You can have that. Like I ride 41 miles a day and I think about that when I'm eating. Bagels with extra cream cheese.
Say you're going to ride an extra 40 miles?
Yeah, I'll ride after this.
In that?
In your dress?
No, I have clothes at the gym.
You can wear whatever you want when you ride, Mara.
You can wear whatever you want.
Don't conform and look like a cyclist.
No one will judge you.
I love when cyclists come into like Starbucks after riding and they still have their helmet on and their geir and they look like such fucking
Such
idiots.
fucking nerds.
And there's like 9 of them and they're just like, and they still.
Man, the turnover on 77th Street was crazy.
Yeah, man.
Like, shut the fuck up.
You really going there for a minute, Mike. Thanks.
I thought you were going to change gears on that hill, and you did. And I was like, woohoo! God, what dual bags.
What a boring fucking sport. You just ride. I mean, I get it. Like the
you
Tour
have
de
no
France
idea.
is pretty crazy.
Oh my God, I could watch that all day.
Biking's fun.
It is
like
super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it gets like a rush.
I had a BMX when I was a kid.
Me too. Did you
Yeah.
have pegs?
I had pegs.
I had pegs too. Front and back?
Yeah, front and back.
Ooh,
We
me
had
too.
a GT. The big bikes were GT.
Mm-hmm.
Haro was a big bike, and these. I remember Yeah, we just went through, like, for one of my birthdays, we had, like, these bikers come, and they just do, like, tricks, like, street tricks.
He was so rich. You already talked about this. You were so rich.
I don't think that's that rich. I think they were,
That's
like,
so
literally,
rich,
like, 20
right?
bucks for kids.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of money. It's not like, yeah, I don't think that was
For
a lot
how
of money.
much? For how many?
I don't know.
For how many kids came over?
Oh, not that many.
like
We
a
used to have my
birthday
big. I actually had my birthday at like McDonald's and shit. My dad made money, but he wasn't.
We went to McDonald's once a month.
Well, that's just because you fucking lived in a cage and you never got it. They fucking fed you just like.
We were so poor.
Yeah, well, stop blaming me for it, you loser. Just because
Your
your dad.
big piece of property.
Yeah, when we got older, my dad became wealthy.
Yeah, my dad wasn't like. When you're a doctor, you don't
Make money. till
make
you're
money
older.
until you're like 40, 45, like whatever. Like, it's all relative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was going to like a private school with kids that literally fucking had BMWs and drove their boat. So it
Yeah.
is, but yes, we were more successful than. Yeah. Whatever, we're successful than like whatever. A lot of kids, but it never felt like we were like we had like a checkered truck, like car. And we had like two like cars that were in the 70s, like growing up. Like my dad didn't have like a cool car until, I was like 14.
I had a, James, come on over. I had a,
That's so spastic when you do this.
Yeah, it's never smooth.
I messaged, yeah, I know.
We're
Maybe I
never smooth.
messaged him too late. I had my dad bought a Ford Probe.
Yeah.
And then another guy had a Ford Probe, but he had a spoiler on his. And I remember walking behind him, and he was like, "Yeah, hers is not like a GT." And I go, "Really?" I'm like, "Calm down."
Because you were so happy for the probe.
I was so happy just to
Yeah.
have a car.
Yeah.
And then I got it taken away because I crashed it.
Wait, you guys drive?
We were talking about our parents' cars back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We had an old Checker. And how my dad was a physician and that we weren't rich. But like doctors don't really get, they're wealthy relative to whatever. But we didn't have like, he finally
He
got
had
like a
birthday
Firebird.
parties.
We had birthday parties. She thought I was rich because I had
He had
A birthday party.
a birthday party
But
outside,
performers
at McDonald's. And performers came. By performers,
Like the Hamburglar.
yeah, the Hamburglers like waved at our table for a second, and she
James,
thinks
you have
I'm a
the
billionaire.
best teeth ever.
Oh, thank you.
Our
really?
guest.
She's never said that to me.
That's the best compliment I ever got.
Yeah, well,
I get a lot of insults. I've never gotten a compliment for
Really?
my looks. Yeah.
Wow,
And
you
now
look
I
great.
know
You got
it.
great hair. You got a whole
Yes.
thing going. You got a
You know,
look.
I'm kind of like a weird, somewhat weird looking. Like I'm a look you have to get used to.
No, what are you talking about? So actually,
Well, I mean,
what
I
we were
kinda
talking
agree
about
with that.
before
No,
you came in.
See?
We were talking about how everybody should just be themselves right before he came in. James Altucher, everyone, 11-time author, right?
18 times.
18, a little
Don't-
off.
18 books.
Don't accuse me of
Yeah, only
just 11.
Yeah, only 11.
What am I, a slacker?
90,
How short are these
97
books?
Some
How
of
many
them are short.
how many companies have you started and sold?
Now it's quite a bit, but roughly around 20 or so.
Yeah,
So
crazy.
most have failed miserably.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Lincoln failed
Well,
a
you
bunch
keep
of
going
times, right?
after it.
I
Did you
keep going
fail
after
early
it.
on?
No, actually, the problem was
Just
I
the last
succeeded early on.
17.
I succeeded early on, which gave me this kind of feeling of like, oh, if I can make it here, I can make it just all the time, everywhere, doing anything.
Yeah.
And then I just started bombing nonstop. So
How did you make your money originally?
it was actually on this street. So I was on like 17 West 21st Street, like right across from the Abracadabra Magic Store, and Justin's and all, or what used to be Justin's. And I had a website development company in the 90s.
Oh, damn,
and
that
you could
boom.
probably tell by the way I look, all my clients were the gangster rap record labels. So,
Really?
yeah, like Bad Boy Records, Loud Records, Jive, Interscope, Death Row, and American Express, which paid all the bills. So, and then we sold that company, and then just started company after company after that, ruining my life more with each one.
So you were developing websites for these guys? Or is that
Yeah, I developed all their websites.
So
Yeah.
you were like one of the first guys to start developing websites?
Oh, yeah, there were like maybe 4 or 5 companies in the city at the time doing it.
How was it with dial-up?
Well, It was hard actually because you couldn't really have video. Because we were building websites assuming the customer, the end user, would have dial-up, and so you couldn't really use video, and you had to design very light. So it was good though. It was fun.
Yeah, now you have Squarespace. And anyone can do it.
Yeah. Now, well, what happened was my sister, who was like in junior high school, said, "Oh, I'm taking a website development class," and I was thinking I was charging HBO $75,000 to make a 3-page website about Dennis Miller, and my 12-year-old sister was making 3-page websites also. So I figured we better sell the company. And we did. And that entire industry actually went out of business. Like the entire industry disappeared. Like now it's much more, there are companies that make websites, but they provide software and strategy and all these other things.
Right.
We just put up, where they thought we were rocket scientists if we could put up a website.
You had your 12-year-old sister working in the back.
Right.
You paid her with candy.
Right, exactly.
And you had a sports car. Yeah, I made a lot of money in the real estate.
Again, I don't drive. I don't
drive.
get this thing with killing machines driving around.
You never driven. Are you from New York City originally?
No, but I don't drive at all.
Yeah.
You never drove wherever you're from.
I have driven, and fortunately nobody died, but people got hurt.
You have a license.
I don't have a license now.
Please don't drive.
It's a
Please don't
phobia.
drive.
You have a phobia of driving?
No, I'm actually a bad driver. You know this. you know the statistic. There's the statistic. 9 out of 10 people think they're an above average driver.
Okay.
Right, but I actually happen to be the 1 out of 10 person who's totally honest about my driving ability. So I kill people. So
Great.
that's why I got divorced a lot.
Was that combined? Oh yeah. Have you been
Segue.
divorced?
Yeah, I know.
Segue.
Yeah, I know. That was great. That wasn't forced at all. I kill people and I've
That's
been
why I'm divorced.
Yeah,
Okay, so you are divorced.
Twice.
All right.
yeah, because that's what the podcast is about.
Congratulations.
Did you know the podcast was about
Yeah,
divorce?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so let's bring her back. So you start the company. Are you in a relationship then?
When I started the company, I was married. Yes. Oh no. When I started it, no, and then I got married.
Oh, nice.
How did you meet your first wife?
She worked at HBO, and I worked at HBO, and HBO was also the first client of my company. So I convinced HBO, you need to make a website. They didn't even know what the internet was. So I convinced them, oh, this thing's going to be big. You should make a website. So they didn't even own HBO.com. There was a medical supplies company called HBO, which owned HBO.com. So I convinced them, buy the URL. They spent $250,000 in 1995 to buy the URL. And then I was assigned the task, make the website. So I called up my brother-in-law and I said, hey, we're taking a bunch of proposals. Write the proposal to make the HBO website. Now, he didn't speak or write English, and so I wrote the proposal for him and signed his name. And lo and behold, he was accepted to do the HBO website. And then he and I became partners in a company that made websites for entertainment companies.
And meanwhile, the 12-year-old made it. 12-year-old sister.
At that time, she didn't know yet. It was not until 1998 that she learned.
So you made all this money. You're a young associate. How old are you? At HBO?
You were best friends with the brother-in-law. Is that how you met your wife?
Yeah.
No, my wife was working at HBO, so I was doing a project for HBO at the time, also in the documentaries department, called 3 a.m., which never aired, but I was shooting a pilot. And I was going out in New York City at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday night. So if you could remember, if anyone in this room could remember the last time they were in New York City at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday night, just think for a second and remember back to that moment. Nothing good was happening, am I right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So I would go out every Tuesday, did this for 3 years, and just shot people, not with a gun, but like video.
The car.
Interviewed and shot people, what are you up to at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday night? Why aren't you resting for work or school or whatever? And so I got thousands of stories, and we were shooting it as a documentary and also putting it on the website. And this woman in the legal department was always trying to determine, would always proof what I had to make sure it wasn't too obscene. And that's for HBO even. Mm-hmm. And I figured the best way to get approvals would be to start dating her. And
or the worst.
Always thinking. I just poked myself in the eye while I did that.
You're wearing glasses. You went
I dug
under?
in there, yeah. I swear.
He went in.
I swear to God, I like scratched my cornea just now.
I hit my ears.
And we started dating, and the rest is prehistory.
So you were kind of like a celebrity in her eyes. She was looking at you every day doing these interviews, thinking you were going to be on HBO, and you had the website business
Are you
going.
saying that's the only reason she liked me?
100%. You look way better on camera. is what
She
I'm
saw me on camera.
yeah. So how long did you date her? Like, what was the?
We dated for like a year and then got married.
How long were you married?
We were married for 10 years.
How'd you ask her?
It was really bad, actually. She really wanted to get married, and I had done this website for a diamond dealer, and I learned everything about diamonds. I knew his inventory inside and out. He cut me a deal, so I had like a nice diamond. And I remember walking. First of all, she was like saying the whole time, "We have to get married. We have to get married, or one of us has to leave HBO." And HBO was a huge source of income for me because not only was it my job, but it was also my company's biggest client, and I was shooting a documentary for them. So she's like, if we don't get married, and it's not all her fault. She wanted to get married, and we had been going out for a little over a year. And she's like, if we don't get married, one of us should probably leave HBO. And so I got a ring, and I remember walking to her place, and I stopped in a bar, and I was thinking, boy, I have this ring is like this symbol of power. Like I could ask anyone on the street right now to marry me, and there's a decent chance one of them would say yes. Like maybe I would have a 20 to 30% chance any of them would say yes with this ring in my hand.
Yeah.
And so I go home, and I've suggested to her, how about we move in together? And she's like, no, only if we get married. And I'm like, okay, how about we get married? And that was how I proposed.
Sounds romantic.
Yeah.
Did you get on a knee?
And by the way, I didn't move in with her until 3 or 4 months after we got married.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's a better way.
So I was living in the Chelsea Hotel on 23rd Street, and I really loved it. And I couldn't understand, why don't you want to live in the Chelsea Hotel? It's like the coolest building in New York. And she's like,
It's
no.
haunted, right?
It could be haunted. There's I have certainly reason to believe that. But finally, she said, look, and her dad said, look, you got to move in with your wife.
So then she retired or whatever. She left HBO.
She did, yeah. One day I came home and she said, I quit.
Yeah.
So,
And you were doing that whole thing just so she would stay working.
well, I thought, I had a company on the side. I was working at HBO. I was working really hard. But at some point, we decided to have kids. She decided to have kids. And we have two
This
wonderful
sounds so
children.
healthy.
Well, one thing is we have two wonderful children, so that I'm super happy about. I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old now, and so that was a good thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. Do you have kids?
No.
No, we're just
Thank God.
yeah. I don't think God wants us to have kids.
God's like, no.
God didn't want me to have kids either.
Yeah.
I can tell you, having kids was like the worst experience, but then it becomes better.
Yeah.
Like when they are like old enough to like make jokes with you and stuff, then they're pretty good. Then there's this period where they don't laugh at your jokes and they kind of turn the other way and walk away when you try to talk to them. That period's bad. And then it comes back, and like the 18-year-old is good again. Like she likes me. And so
Yeah. And how did it end?
Yeah, how was the divorce?
well, I mean, there's lots of reasons for divorce. There's never one easy reason, right? There's no easy reason.
Yeah, you seem very relaxed.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I am relaxed. Well, now I've been divorced twice.
So so what happened with
I think with most divorces, not all divorces, with most divorces, I think it's both sides of the street. So I think a lot of times people make assumptions that are usually wrong, and I know I'm being oblique here. I'm usually very open, but I never want to say. I'm always willing to say something bad about myself, but I never want to say anything bad that could harm anyone else. And so, needless to say, we weren't getting along anywhere more. The arguments were so raw, it was to the bone, that finally our couples therapist said, I think you guys need to just get a divorce.
Your couples couples therapist was
And
like,
that couples therapist gave up.
Like,
He
I give
gave-
up on you guys.
The couples therapist gave up. He was making like $600 a session.
And he
and
was-
he was like, I'm
and he was
out.
doing that every week. And he was like, okay, it's $30,000 down the drain, but you guys have to just never see me again.
How long did you see him for before he quit on you?
Maybe like a year, but we saw maybe a dozen couples therapists along.
And they all
along
fired
the way.
you?
No, we fired most of. We fired most of them because most of them liked me, and
Yeah.
so then that would instantly like a big X over
She
them.
was
We
like,
couldn't go back
"Nah."
to them. So this one was very fair and even, and he was really good. And he was honest, and he said, "You guys just don't belong together."
Well, after 12 couple therapists, you
Yeah.
know, it's the clues are there. You know,
I wonder
like, how
if you
many
can go.
therapy can you go to before you're just like, yeah, that's
Yeah, it's probably time. Let's call it
We've
time
just
of
spent
death.
$300,000 to just be able to talk to each other.
Well, I think a lot of times in marriage in our society, you kind of think, oh, we're in it no matter what. We're spending the rest of our lives here because you make these vows in front of your family, in front of your
we, though?
religion. I don't know. I mean, I think society in general. I don't think
Yeah.
you have to stay together. Obviously, I've been
Right.
divorced twice now. But I think there's this at first time, there's this enormous feeling that you really have to like do whatever you can to work it out. And, you know, particularly with kids, you have to really think about that as well. And there's a lot of combined, you know, money and assets and things like that. So it was complicated, but not that complicated by the end. And so I moved out literally on Thanksgiving Day because they were all going to her sister's for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, you know, if we're at this point, I'm not going to your stupid sisters for Thanksgiving. I'm giving up like an hour before that. And so...
But can you bring me home a plate?
No, so I went to stay. I went to the city and I stayed. I checked into the Algonquin Hotel. And can I tell you the story?
Please.
Of course.
So, and I, of course, was feeling lonely. It was by myself. I was sad. I was getting divorced.
It had been like an hour that you were single?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
okay.
no, but realistically, nothing had been working for a while.
Right.
Like this was like just the final outcome, and I hadn't really been staying at home or anything for a long time. So I was in this hotel, and I put an ad on Craigslist, which is what you do.
Of course.
And the ad said, I'd recently suffered a traumatic brain injury. And when I came out of, this is a true story, when I came out of the coma, I could see into the future. So if anybody has any questions, please email me and I'd be happy to answer them. It's Thanksgiving Day. I went down to the diner. It was the Red Flame Diner on 44th and 6th. Went down to the diner, got a turkey sandwich, came back upstairs, and I had hundreds of emails. And maybe half from men, half from women. So I divided them up, hit delete on all the male emails, and just started responding to the female emails. And I was, you know, responding, and almost all the questions were of the form, should I sleep with my boss? And I swear to God, like almost everybody was asking. That was like the at least 50% of the questions were, I'm really feeling attracted to my boss. Should I sleep with him? And no was the answer to all of those. And
But go out with me.
well, then later that night,
Send headshot.
later that night, I told my mother what I had done, and I kind of updated her on what was happening with divorce and situation. And I told her, oh, I did this stupid thing with Craigslist, and she said, well, being a concerned Jewish mother, she said, well, can you start going out with any of these women? And I told her, you know, it's look at what you've created. Like it's probably not happening in that direction. So that's my divorce story.
Is your mom in a successful marriage?
No, well, she was, yes, but he's dead. So she
That
killed him
happens.
In a car?
in a car.
Yeah. So you were very successful for a while, and then you said you had a lot of failures. Do you think that played in a part with your relationship of trying to chase money more? And I mean,
Yeah,
you
I think
seemed
so.
Yeah.
I think I was definitely valuing money over anything else. We all have metrics by which we judge ourselves, right? Like, let me ask you guys. I mean, like you're doing a podcast, so you look at your podcast downloads. You feel better if they're up. You feel a little worse if they're down.
Right.
And we all get our dopamine from something, and I was getting mine completely from money, and that was definitely affecting my relationship with my wife and how she felt about me and how I felt about myself. Of course, it's a cliche, but no one's gonna love you if you can't love yourself. And of course, another cliche is you can't ever have enough money if that's the only thing you're going for. And so it definitely played a role.
Yeah.
So, and also I was so stressed all the time because like when you fail at a business, like it's just the worst feeling. Like
17 times.
17 times, yeah, 17 times over. It's by that point there was maybe like more like 5 or 6 failures.
Yeah.
But it was still painful.
Do you still feel that the masculine drive to be a provider as well? Did that
Absolutely.
burden?
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think that's a burden. I think that is a primal masculine thing. I don't think that means women should not make money or be successful or be providers, but just men will naturally want to be providers because that's what they did for 2 million years. So it's not like just because of since the 1970s, all of a sudden it's men no longer have to think that like, oh, this primal neurochemical instinct we've had for 2.5 million years, it just was legislated away. It's not going to happen. Like we still feel this need to like.
Let's all go get rosé and
right. Paid for by the woman.
So how did you meet the second wife, and where?
Yeah. Well, are there any in betweens?
Well, you guys have to tell me some of your stories.
Our listeners have heard.
I've been
literally
divorced 3 times. I've been engaged 7.
All right, so let me tell you a story.
Please.
So after,
That was good. I'm glad she
I know,
told you the
thank
story.
you.
Yeah, no, really.
well, because you said 3 times, and I want to know how the third one didn't work out. But after my second, I was really, I was kind of in a state of shock. It was a totally different situation. I was in a complete state of shock, and
After your second.
after my
Okay.
second, and I thought, oh my God, because I thought I was going to be married to her for forever. Like this was it, and I was very deeply in love, and a lot of things were going really well, and then second bad thing happened, and I really thought I was damaged goods. Like who's going to want this guy in his late 40s? I was like damaged goods. So I literally picked up the phone, tracked down Judy Blume. Have you ever read Judy Blume's
Yes,
books?
of course.
So like, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, Blubber, Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing.
Hell
Sold
yeah.
150 million copies of her books. But it seems like our generation is the only one who knows who she is, even though she sold so many books. And so I called her up and explained the situation. And she said, I want you to listen to me carefully. She said, I represent your entire childhood. Am I correct? And I said, yeah, you're correct. And she said, okay, so you have to listen to me. She said, 30 years ago, I met my third husband, and it's been bliss ever since. And she said, third time's a charm. So don't worry. So now I want to ask you. So I want to ask you, what happened on your third time?
Well, I think it's because my first and my second happened so fast, and I didn't give myself any time to heal. I really don't count my second because it was only 17 days also.
Oh, it's all a 17-day marriage. So
17-day marriage, yeah.
how did you meet the second marriage?
He was a member at the gym. And
So it
he
was just
challenged
this-
me to because I was a professional cyclist at the time. So he challenged me to a race. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm going to win. And even though he was 6'5", I was like, I'm going to win. And,
Okay, but it's very game-like to
Yeah.
challenge a woman to something that you both are going to exert energy in.
it was a game. Yeah. And I didn't even want to really be with him, but all my girlfriends were like, he's so nice and he's so attractive and you never go out with nice. So stay going out with him. And then it just kind of like snowballed from there. And then I couldn't get out of it. But then my third one,
Wait. How long were you going out before you got married?
8 months.
So then you got married, and then what happened in those? So you knew him enough to be with him for 8 months and to say yes. So 8 months is not unreasonable for someone to make a marriage proposal.
Well, yeah, he proposed.
So you said yes. You got married. What happened in those 17 days that ended in this 8-month relationship?
Well,
She got an anal fissure, right?
Yeah, I got an anal fissure. I stressed myself out so bad I split my rectum.
What's it? Wait, what's an anal fissure?
It's when,
It's-
it's when you split apart either your colon or your rectum. But I stressed myself out so bad that I split it wide open.
Wait, like a medical thing?
Yeah,
Correct,
medical
yeah.
thing.
He's
I had
just he
never
wants
heard
me
of
to
this.
bring it up because he wants me to talk about Hello Tushy. Is that what you wanted to do?
It would be fun to talk about how
We have a sponsor.
Yeah, we should talk about our sponsor real quick. Have you ever used a bidet?
I have not. No.
Oh, you need to. And go to hellotushy.me and go get a bidet. They're the best.
They're
Were
the
they on
best.
Shark Tank? I feel like they were on. Oh wait, how?
No, she's
No, you're
it's
thinking
the,
of maybe
It's the Thinks lady.
I know her. She
Yeah.
pitched that business to me actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing well.
I
think
know
she-
her
And you,
very.
would, and you would have loved to invest in it. 'cause
I
it
know.
is great.
I know her very well.
Yeah.
Oh, she's awesome.
We've been on like 2 podcasts together.
Oh,
Oh, really?
really?
Yeah.
She's fucking badass. I love her.
So we both have a bidet.
Yeah, we
now,
both have a bidet.
and we love it so much.
And if
We
you
really
want to
do, like-
if you want to go to hellotushy.me, our promo code is happy butthole.
Yeah, go check it out and have a nice clean butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you walking around with a dirty butt? What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. I should get a Hello
Jesus.
Tushy.
Yeah, get a Hello Tushy. All right. So anyway, so you were married.
So yeah, so we get proposed. He proposes kind of like a medium proposal at 6 months, and they said I'll know at a year, and then
What?
yeah, that
He's
we're
like,
together.
I'm kind of proposing, but let's just see if you're good enough. Another 6 months.
Yeah, and then at like 8 or 9 months, he brings it up again. So it's kind of like another baby proposal. But then at a year, he gives me an iPod Shuffle in a box that's similar size to a jewelry box. So then I'm pissed about not getting proposed to at a year, like official proposal. So then I was like hooked in that way because now I'm invested in an angry way.
Wait, but this is a year. What happened to the 8 months? I'm just,
The 8
I'm just
months.
adding it all up.
Oh, because he's like sat me down and we talked about our future and our house. We bought a house. I bought a house. And then, and what we were going to do with it. So at that point, we had combined our assets and everything. So it was basically like we were together. And
but you weren't engaged.
we were not like officially engaged. It was just a light ask.
And so then what happened in the 17 days?
Oh, the 17 days, I didn't want to get married in the first place. I remember when I was getting married, when I was walking out from underneath to go to the walkway, the assistant to the wedding planner goes, "You guys are going to make great babies." And I stopped and I started to cry like immediately. And I was like, no, we're not going to, this is not for real. And then and then we went on our honeymoon,
Where'd you go on the honeymoon?
Mexico, and then no big deal, and then like nothing crazy, and then we came back, and I was kind of like going in between DC consulting there for a health club, and I didn't want him to come at all, and I cheated on him there, and then I was like, this is over, and then he was text me because I was going out all the time in DC, and he was like, if you don't come home tonight, it's over, and I was like, how big do you guys want to go? I'm staying out for 3 days. And I stayed out for like 3 days.
Wow.
I never went home.
Wow. So then divorce.
I raged. Yeah.
And then how did you get the divorce? Was it like an annulment because it was so short, or
No, he said because almost 500 people were there that it was a real deal because the time went in and everything. We had 472 people there.
and so you had to hire divorce lawyers?
No, I didn't hire anybody. I said, fine, that's fine. And then I had to pay him $13,000 to get divorced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you? Because that was the half of the joint assets.
Yeah, I
or-
said he could keep the house if he took over the mortgage, and then I had to pay him $13,000 from our assets. Yeah.
And then now you don't talk at all.
No, he married someone that came to the wedding that I said couldn't come.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you say she couldn't come?
Because I could tell that she was still very attracted to him. I was like, you just know. So I was like, no, she can't come. And then her and one other girl came that I was like, no, they can't. Exes can't come.
So now that's why you hate exes so much. When a guy brings up exes because he married one of them. Or one of the girls that he talked about a lot.
No, you can just tell when there's still something there.
Yeah, but sometimes you make it up in your brain.
But I think exes are dangerous because the guy or the girl has had sex with the ex before. So if
Yeah.
they get together in a room, it's not.
There's still a chemical.
They know the language of going from here to there.
Yeah.
Pretty easily.
Have you ever slept with an ex?
I have never slept with an ex because normally once it's over for me, it's over.
Yeah.
How long were you with your second wife?
I mean, altogether, including relationship, 6 years.
How old were you
6
when
and a
you
half
met
years.
her?
I was 41.
Okay, so and then at that point, did you feel comfortable economically? Like, were you back on track? And
No.
Oh.
I have all my life only entered relationships from deep within a crisis.
Well, the first one didn't seem like at HBO. That was
No, that was a
yeah.
that was a crisis because in a juvenile way, I was like in my 14-year-old brain thinking no girl's ever gonna like me, and here's this woman who likes me, and I figured, oh, someone likes me, I'm gonna definitely marry her. I have to marry her because no one else is gonna like me. And I was starting up a company, so I didn't. It was my first company. I didn't really. It's a very hard thing to do to start like a good company, and so I was juggling and balancing all these things, including this relationship, including my own feelings of inferiority. So marriage bloomed out of that.
So at 41, do you feel more confident in who you are? Or
Well, I met her the second at 41. Now I'm 49. And so, yeah, now is the first time I'm single where I feel like I'm not actually in a point of crisis. So when I met the 41-year-old, it was the middle of, I had started another successful company, built that up, sold it, and then went crashing broke within a year or so after that. And then it was the financial crisis, so there wasn't even any opportunities. And so I figured, oh my gosh, I'm divorced, I got kids to support, I don't have any job or opportunities, and I just crashed and burned after I had succeeded at my second company. And who is gonna like me now? And then, of course, this woman shows up who loves me, and we get married. And so that was a point of crisis. And and then after that, I was in such shock. I went from crisis to crisis, and now, hopefully, you never really know, I guess, until later. But I don't think I'm in a crisis now, and I've sort of taken steps to test that a little bit.
So do you want to get married again?
I definitely want to be in a lifelong committed relationship. I don't know. Like, let me ask you that, because I feel like marriage implies some legal and government ownership of your relationship. And I saw more with the second marriage than the first, how complicated the legal and government aspects were in a difficult situation. They're not really there to help you because they're not trying to understand every emotional situation there could be. And so I don't mind legally, tying or I don't mind committing long term, and if there's kids, legally, understanding what that means in terms of supporting the kids. But I don't know if in general it's necessary to have the government sanction a personal relationship.
I felt like once I got married, I felt like all the walls were closing in. I just feel like a really strong psychic connection to that person, and then it just feels constraining. I didn't feel anything from the government, mostly because I just have like a CPA that I'm like, who cares? Send it all over there. But I do feel like I'd rather make the daily commitment to them to stay. And if I want to leave, I can leave. It's always my choice to stay. I do want to be in a lifelong commitment as well.
I think that's a healthy way to think, that it's like every day. It's not like if you have an argument, like you say, okay, I'm leaving. We had an argument today, and since this is by the day, I'm leaving.
But if you have an argument and you're still like, I still am deciding to stay.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yes.
And I think the idea of marriage is nice, that it sort of somehow sanctifies this lifelong commitment, or at least that your intention is lifelong. But again, I just I get scared now about the government involvement in that.
Well, you never explained what happened with the second relationship. Why?
Yeah, and again, that's a situation where it would do her more harm than me to explain.
Oh.
But to say
we like to just be self-accountable on this one. Like I talked about how I cheated. I talked about how
So I never cheated.
Okay.
So if I had cheated, I would have said it.
Yeah.
I never cheated. And I really was in love with the second wife and thought I was going to be with her forever. And it was a huge shock for me when it ended. It was a trauma. And what was great then was I was ashamed of it a little bit, like I said in the story with Judy Bloom. But when I actually asked friends for help, it was amazing how many friends really did reach out to help me and do things for me and kind of make sure I was okay. And unfortunately, then I went straight into a relationship that was probably even worse for me than anything I had ever encountered before. But
right after the second marriage?
Yeah. And then
You did a Craigslist post again?
No, I didn't do a Craigslist post this
Answered
time.
an ad.
You did Backpage this time.
Yeah, I didn't do a Craigslist post, but I just got into something that wasn't very healthy for me, or probably for her. And then now I've just been.
Do you have a girlfriend now?
No, I have nothing now.
Are you back on top with business?
Yeah, I'm back on top with business.
This is
Everything's great.
This is when
I love life.
Yeah, so-
And that's why I say this is the first time I'm single without being in the middle of a crisis. Is that I actually feel good. I've been, just comfortable being by myself, and it's been great.
Yeah, but I've only seen you with some hot tail.
Well, I have lots of friends.
Like you said, his business is doing good. I'm sure he'll get married again once he goes broke.
Do you have like a manifest list if you could choose qualities of a woman? Do you think about that? Because I know all of okay.
You gotta give me something here. What's your list?
I don't know. I've been single now for like my whole life. I only had one girlfriend in college.
Really? How long did that last?
Off and on for like 3 years.
Where are you from?
I'm from Florida originally. And I don't know. I lost a lot of self-value in my 20s, and I just never really
Why'd you lose a lot of self-value?
I actually went broke too. I made money in real estate, and I lost it all, and then got in horrible debt with the IRS, and I don't know. I just thought I wasn't good enough, and then for a lot of different reasons too. Just I don't know, my self-worth.
How old are you now?
I'm 37.
And so from 20s to 37, what's been going on then?
You're talking about a guy who came in his pants at a fucking striptease.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like 2 days ago. No, 2 days ago. But whatever.
Let's
It's
get
just,
it straight.
I went to a
please.
strip club, but I've been good. I've been sober now for whatever. I 4 months. I started going to therapy recently. There's been some good things in the last month.
Started
and a half.
doing your taxes.
Did my
started
taxes. I got
doing-
blood work done.
Got a
I-
blood.
We have a successful podcast. We
doesn't have AIDS.
Yeah. I was really worried about
AIDS.
AIDS too. I don't know. I was all fucked up in my head.
Why were you worried about AIDS?
I don't know. I think I got an AIDS test when I was a virgin.
Oh, you do know why you were worried about AIDS.
Oh, yeah.
We just want to hear about it.
No, I mean, I got an AIDS test when I was a virgin for fingering a girl and biting my nails. So I always had
just
this
always thinks he
irrational
has
fear
AIDS.
with it. And then I actually slept with a couple women that were pretty, fun and loose and without a condom. And so then I was like, okay, and now I got it, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And
So now you use protection.
No, I came in my pants. Also, I guess the jeans. The jeans.
Well,
are-
I'm just-
I know.
That was 2 days ago. What have you been doing for the past 10 years?
Yeah. So I've been using protection mostly. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really fuck that much, and I don't know. I just kind of roam around. But I'm ready to settle down if that's what you're asking.
I think
With who though?
With who? Okay, yeah. So what do I look for?
Yes.
I don't know. I want. It's funny because now I have a little value for myself. Before I didn't think I could have a great woman because I wasn't good enough for her. And now I feel like I can have not the greatest woman, but pretty good.
why don't think you could,
I don't know. I just
Let me
feel
ask you a
like-
series of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
how many hours of sleep a night do you get?
Oh, bad. I sleep from 11 to 3, then I'm up from 3 to 5, and then from 6 to 9:30, or
So
whatever,
is
or
it-
5 to 9:30. So overall,
This is not
Like 6
horrible.
hours.
Yeah,
it's not
like 8
horrible.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you eat every day?
I eat pretty healthy, but not as I mean, I'm
This is something that we
Salads.
do eat very healthy on
Yeah,
purpose
decently, I
because when we don't eat healthy, we have anxiety.
When you say we, why don't you two guys go out?
I don't know that use
No.
of we is not nice.
That's not what we
you
meant.
use the plural, the royal,
Yeah.
the royal we there, or are you including
It's like
the two
when
of
we
you?
sleep
Royal.
together, and
Who other than Mara, who are your other friends?
I have a lot of comic friends.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Like who?
and I have friends from college, but younger guys mostly. I have some girlfriends.
How
too.
young?
Yeah, I don't know. 30, 29, 30, 31.
And you meet them at the
Oh, we
comedy
met
clubs?
through open mics. But then I have, college friends that are really close, but they're all married with kids now. And
Do you spend time with friends a lot?
I'm alone a lot. That's hard.
Where do you
because
live?
I dog walk, and I live in Bushwick in Brooklyn. I live with 2 roommates in a kind of a shitty apartment. Walk up,
It's because you're primarily focused on comedy?
Yeah.
And
so I don't
so-
focus on other stuff, on how to be successful in other areas.
And what other
James,
areas?
our new host of Happy Never After.
Good though. I can see why his podcast is good.
No, I
You should
just get
come
very
on
curious.
Yeah.
So, what other areas are you focused on other than comedy?
Just I have a dog walking business. I have 2 clients.
2 clients with a dog walking business
Yeah.
is not quite a business yet, but
Yeah, it's more of like it's a limited partnership with just myself. Yeah, it's very limited.
But creatively every day you do open mics. Do you write comedy every day? Do you think about other avenues for comedy?
Yes, I should. I don't put myself out there that much because I'm afraid of rejection a lot. I know
You
that.
can't do comedy if you're afraid of rejection, obviously.
Yeah. No, but I could get up and do stand up. I just like my writing and like thinking I'm like good enough to be an actor, or like good enough to write for a show or a late night show. I just don't really value my ability to write as well as other people.
So you're correct, and I don't know anything about your writing, but as long as you say it, I'll believe you.
Yeah.
But the way to improve is why don't you put together packets and actually submit them to the shows?
Yeah, I know.
And you could do it. You're funny.
No,
I see
thank
it on
you.
the show.
Yeah, thank you.
So that you should do every day.
I know. I should do it more. I know.
Every day, actually, you should do
Yeah.
it because it's a muscle that you have to. If you exercise,
Not enough because my elbows hurt
Have you
when I
seen him?
exercise. I walk a lot. I walk 7 miles a day.
okay, but you're 37, so eventually you're gonna have to start working on muscle. for
I worked on
metabolism.
muscle my whole life, and I get very sore, and like my elbows are all
This is my
fucked up,
favorite
and I
job
don't
all
know
time.
why, and I can't figure it out.
But so a personal trainer will help you figure out.
She's a personal trainer, but she
So
hasn't
what's
done-
wrong with his elbows?
He just has to show up to the gym. If he could show, I offer
It's an
every day
Equinox
at
right
9.
on the corner.
No, I offered him a free training session every day at 9 a.m. And he, how many times have you come?
I don't know if it was a free. It comes with you.
But but to be fair, the gym is something awful, right? It's really unpleasant if you've never been in the gym. If you don't
No,
go to the
no,
gym,
no.
that much.
Marshall, do I make it fun?
Yes.
I'm telling
Thank
you,
you.
I was I worked out a ton throughout my life. I played a lot of sports. I was very athletic. Still pretty athletic. I get so depleted after working out that it's not fun for me anymore because I don't feel like I could think well enough on stage and stuff. So I
agree with
it's
you.
a counterintuitive like thing where
So work out 15 minutes instead of an hour.
that's
Lift weight. Just do kettlebells for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I did I did a little less. She stretches me, which is nice. Like
Mentally,
yeah. Physically,
Emotionally.
emotionally, everything. Yeah. I wish it just got my.
and what are you worried? What are you worried about the most about the future?
Well, now I'm pretty good. I think honestly, like I'm dealing with my taxes for once, and I went to the doctor, and I'm good with everything, and that really took off a
I
lot
think
of.
James is avoiding being our guest.
No, I think James is a great guest.
I think he's a great guest also.
Well, you think he's avoiding talking about his second
Yes.
wife? Yeah, who hit him with a frying pan, but he doesn't want to say. But how old was she, by the way?
She was my age.
She was your age.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it might have been a kid thing. Where
No,
she
no,
wanted kids.
I met her when I was 41, and she was 41. She was 1 month younger than me, which I would always remind her that in that first month of life, you learn more in that first month than for the rest of your life. So I had at least double the knowledge of her
Yeah,
forever.
it's good
And
you
she
held
could
that
never-
over her.
Yeah. So, but she was great. We wrote a book together. For instance, one of my books was co-written with her. She was really great. We had a really great relationship for a long time, which sort of gave me a peek into what a good relationship could be like. And so that's where I'm in the direction I'm hopefully heading. So,
How are you finding dates now?
it's an interesting thing. Do you know the book The Rules?
Yes.
So The Rules was this dating book in the 90s for women that sold over 3 million copies. Was written by 2 women. It was very popular.
Still sells copies.
Still sells copies. And actually, first time I read it, I thought, oh, this is like a horrible and horribly manipulative book. But then I called up the 2 women who wrote The Rules, and I said, I don't like these rules. Can you explain them to me? And they did explain each rule to me, and it actually made total sense. It's a book about women should have self-respect for themselves if they want to find a long-term committed relationship. Not if they just want to hook up or whatever, but if they want a long-term committed relationship, they should absolutely follow the rules. And they explained why, and I found myself 100% agreeing with them. So then they turned the tables on me, and they said, well, what are you doing? And because clearly I've been doing things incorrectly. And they gave me 2 pieces of advice. One is 3 pieces of advice, and I think only one of them maybe was good, but we'll see. They said, don't date a fan. So, and that has been correct so far in my history. And so I think now I'm not looking for someone who already has read all of my stuff or listened to all my podcasts or whatever, because I have a lot of people who have done that. But I don't know. I'm not, who knows what happens. But they also said, they said I should go online, which I refuse to do. I refuse to do online dating. Like, I think that's it. And I have no judgment against anyone who does it, but I think for me, that would be a disaster. And they said probably you shouldn't go out with anybody who's in the media because it's too close to what you do. But they were not sure about that. So those were the 3 pieces of advice for me.
I would agree with the fan. I went out with someone who listens to all the shows, and they have a relationship with who you are on the podcast. And then you're like, oh, you think that there's nothing else to me. It's a very weird situation.
Yeah, I think somehow if you're going out with a fan, somehow you have to convert them into not a fan in a weird way. Meaning not like they should hate you, but they should recognize that you're different than the persona. I mean, we all try to be as honest and as authentic as possible, because that's what succeeds in media right now, and like podcast or writing or whatever. But you're never totally in real life the persona you are in these podcasts and so on.
Yeah, there's 23 more hours in the day. So,
right, and everybody's got problems.
I'm pretty pathetic, all 24.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, you're very self-deprecating, so I feel like there's something that that you're missing in in your daily routine. And I think we hit upon it a little, which is why you're not doing enough things in the things that you love. Right? So you love comedy, but there's some artificial cap you've put on yourself to prevent you from flourishing there, and that's going to cap other areas of your life. It's just my gut without knowing you at all.
You want to get lunch?
Because like
For sure.
you know, I don't know. I was talking. I'm not gonna continue to name drop.
I do I like when you have problems, you go to the source of like, I just called Judy Gold. Like, no one, like, I love that you're like.
Judy Gold.
It
Judy
kind of
Bloom.
reminds me of, have you ever seen the movie Back to School when Ronnie Dangerfield's like, he wants Kurt Vonnegut's help, so he brings Kurt Vonnegut.
Okay.
Like,
So now I have to tell my next story.
Okay,
So-
please.
So yesterday, I was curious about. You ever listen to Howard Stern pre-2000?
yeah, I love Howard. Beetle.
Okay,
Beetlejuice.
so I called Jackie the Joke Man Martling,
Okay.
and I was just always thinking about comedy and his style of humor. He just wrote a book, so his memoir. And there was one thing I didn't know about him, which is that he wrote jokes from Rodney Dangerfield for a while, and he was down in the dumps. Like, he had a failed music career, and he didn't know what to do with his life. So he started compiling packets of jokes for Rodney Dangerfield and sending them off. And suddenly one day and he was sending them to other people too, but suddenly Rodney Dangerfield calls him up and he's like, hey, this is Rodney. And, Jackie was like, no, it isn't. And Rodney Dangerfield said, see, I knew you were a funny guy. And Rodney says, come on the road with me and write jokes for me. So he started, and that's how he really kind of fine-tuned. He already had a sense of humor because he was writing jokes for Rodney Dangerfield, but Rodney's one of the best one-liners in history, one-liner guys in history, and that led ultimately to this philosophy of sending jokes and packets everywhere. That's how he got on the Howard Stern show. He did the Howard Stern show for 3 years for free, and then suddenly started getting paid like a huge salary working for Howard Stern. So that's how things build up, but it only comes from you kind of sending stuff out, and also you sending stuff out makes you better.
Yeah.
Like he had to kind of step up his game to write jokes for Rodney Dangerfield. So he had to mimic Rodney Dangerfield's brain inside his own brain in order to write jokes at that level. And then traveling around what Rodney Dangerfield, he learned. This is the master at work, and that's how you get better.
I think you'd be great at online dating. You just keep taking chances. You'd go out with 40 women a week, but maybe it'd be too many.
No, but here's the problem with online dating. Let me ask your opinion on online dating. Everything is ultimately economics, so it's supply and demand. So I feel like the value of a relationship has gone down because online dating the demand is always the same.
Yeah.
You could only go out with so many girls or so many guys, but supply feels infinite with online dating. So that brings down the value that everybody has of a real relationship. Oh, he doesn't like, Asian food, so boom, I'm going to the next swipe on my whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. I don't, for me, want the value of a relationship to go down, nor do I want to think that the girl I'm dating is just going home from the date with me and then going on Tinder for the next, swipe.
A lot
Before
of
she
my
gets
single
home.
female clients think that. They think they are just going to waste their time with Tinder until they find someone that they meet
real life.
in real life.
But again, economics, it's not actually, it's worse than wasting time. It's spending time. So it's opportunity cost that every moment they spend on Tinder is time they can either be resting or bettering themselves or meeting that person who does value relationships. So I just don't like the online dating thing. But the rules women clarified a little bit too. They said the worst possible app for women is guess. Bumble, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, how did you guess that? Because most women think it's the reverse.
No, because personally for me, I would never do it because I want someone who's going to take charge and be a provider and be that protector. And it makes you take the first step to communicate, which makes you the person that is in charge, the alpha, immediately.
Yes, that's what they said. So that if you're the first person who if the woman is the first person, if the woman is the first person who communicates in any situation, if the woman is the first person who communicates, then chances are it's breaking the rules. And in Bumble, it's kind of automatically set up to break the rules of the woman being the first to
Right.
communicate. And again, it's probably not going to end up in marriage. The guy thinks it's too easy, whatever. So I recently had someone reached out to me, and it's a friend of mine, but she said, it's okay if you ask me on a date, I won't say no. And she said, because we had this conversation, she said, but oh no, did I just break the rules? So by doing this, and I said, I had to remind her that no, I actually did ask you initially on a friend date, which really for me was a date. And
Why did you
months
soften
earlier.
it by saying friend date?
Because I think she viewed it as a friend then, and I viewed it as a date. So I had to remind her that first time we went out, I was viewing it as a date. So was actually the one who had approached her first.
Oh, so you had set it up as a date in your mind.
In my mind.
Okay,
Not
got
in it turned out it wasn't in her mind. And now she's opened
What
the
did you
door.
do that established it as a friend date in her mind? Because I think that there's a clear delineation between a romantic date and a friend date. Did you soften it to make it easier on yourself?
What do you mean? No, she softened it.
Oh.
So I was definitely thinking of it as date. She was definitely thinking of it as friend.
What did
And-
you do? Did you take her to dinner?
No,
pick her up?
it was like a coffee, but then I walked her home like 20 blocks, and I don't know, that feels romantic and date-like
What
to me.
time of the day was it?
It was afternoon, but it was 4 hours.
No, that's a date. That's a friendship.
Yeah, so
You need to go romantic. You
But-
need to be post a certain time of the day.
I agree.
Yes,
but
7 o'clock, 7:30.
But still, this was my excuse to waive her violation of the rules. I did remind her that in my mind, whether I was right or
Yes,
wrong.
but if we go back to opportunity cost, you lost all those months.
Yes,
that you
'cause
could
I-
just been spending.
right.
Like, yes.
Right. So I now realize that a date is past a certain. It's not breakfast. It's past a certain time.
Yes.
And but now we'll see.
Yeah, I'm on Bumble. I don't know.
See, the problem with Bumble for guys is then you're forcing the women to break the rules. So it's probably not going to be a long-term relationship even for you.
Yeah.
And then what a waste of time.
Well, what happens is you match a lot, and the ones you match with that you want to write. I feel like women are just probably over getting not written back, and they probably realize rejection isn't so fun. And it's like, why am I dealing with that when I have 9 other sites I could be on where people are asking me out, and I could be the one in charge.
I went on Tinder last night. I opened up Tinder with Jessica Davidoff. She's my bestie. And this first guy that wrote me said, "I am very," in all capital letters, "interested in you." And I just wrote back, I was like, how do you even know?
I mean, that's just
What
yeah.
are you talking
I mean,
about?
he probably sends that. He copies and pastes.
I know. I was
Everything's
like,
a
this
copy
is so
and paste.
ridiculous.
Also, very seems like you're very fucking crazy.
Interested in you. I was like, chill out.
You don't
dude.
want caps anywhere near.
Caps.
You don't want
Ernest Hemingway didn't write in caps, so
yeah.
so you probably should.
You're yelling at me. You
Yeah.
started yelling at me. The
Right.
second word was I'm very yeah.
One guy was very witty, and he wrote
all
what do you-
lowercase.
What do you compliment your? Because I say I swallow gum, and he's like, what do you?
What else do you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know that would be the.
He's like,
yeah.
What's the side to your gum? Watermelon seeds. And I was like, that's funny.
I don't get
And
it.
it's not sexual.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Like
funny.
things that you're not supposed to eat. Gum and watermelon seeds.
Yeah. Oh, so you swallow.
I
Okay.
swallow gum.
Yeah.
That's why I don't chew gum.
That is
Why do you swallow gum?
I don't know.
We
I
should
get
talk-
Okay,
Yeah.
but think about this. On stage, if you were to say that joke, no one would get it, right?
No one. It's very particular.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. To me, that's why I said it worked because it was
How often do you guys do stand up?
every night.
No.
5
whatever.
nights?
Yeah, I'm close. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm about 5.
yeah. I need to
5 to
sleep
10.
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, sleeping. That's the one
I
thing.
don't know.
That's,
You seem way more proactive than
that-
than any man
well,
I've ever met before.
That's been the curse.
Do you
of,
sleep?
That's the curse of comedy is that I'm a big believer in 8 hours of sleep, but comedy has ruined my schedule, my
Yeah.
sleep schedule a little bit.
Yeah. I was out till 1 in the morning last. I woke up at 6:30. So
I did 9 o'clock at Stand Up New York and then just went straight to sleep after that.
That was smart.
Yeah, and I moved specifically so I could go to Stand Up New York and be asleep within 15 minutes. So
on stage, all you're thinking about is your bed.
like literally, I could go from I'm James Altucher, thanks a lot, you're
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
crowd, to
dude.
being asleep within 15
Why don't
minutes.
you just wear your slippers on stage?
Caroline
bad
Ray
idea.
does. Does she do you live near her? She comes in her pajamas, in her slippers, and she goes on stage and she gets right back off, grabs her money, and then goes right back to bed.
funny.
I could potentially do that. Like I live, like you could see my apartment from the door exit of Stand Up New York.
Oh my God.
I like that you
hilarious.
picked that club to move by,
Well,
as opposed to like the 15
Well, now you have
that are in
West
one
Side, too.
area.
but full disclosure, I own part of the club.
Oh, you do?
So
I love the club. I'm saying it's the best club.
you're all
actually do.
welcome anytime.
Well, that's where I have Prenup, my show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It's
Yeah.
I saw you there the other night.
Yeah, I'm past there. One show a month
One.
on like Tuesday at 5:30.
There's
It's great.
so many comedians.
I know there really are.
There really
There's
are.
1,000 working comedians in New York.
Yeah.
It's so
And I
many.
think 900 don't work.
And
That's
we
how it's
run a couple of shows, and we try to book everyone fairly, but it's so hard to get everybody in.
Yeah, it's a lot of comics and then
Yeah, a lot.
and open mics.
And there are a lot of good ones. You know, there's
Yeah.
like Netflix will call 52 people in 2017 to do specials. There's 52 Netflix comedy specials this year. And again, there's 5,000 equally talented, funny comedians in the U.S., but, you know, they're looking for their specific
it's all
types.
specific.
Right.
It's very whatever. Yeah.
What are you working on now?
Lots of things. I do lots of things at any one point. I diversify my things.
Yeah.
So
So that you're never in that
pick a category and I'll tell you what
crash.
I'm working on.
We'll end with comedy. So books? Any books?
This is the first year since 2003 I haven't written a book.
What was your last one?
It's called Reinvent Yourself, and it hit #1 in the entire Amazon store. Bigger than all fiction and nonfiction.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to me. I never had that happen before.
Do you think it was through the podcast help?
No, I mean, I had a really good cover, because people do judge books by the cover, and I don't know, there might have been some article about it. Something propelled it this one day to #1. I don't know, because it's hard to, it's not that hard when you first release to hit the top 100, but this was like a few months later, and it hit #1 for odd reasons. I still don't know why.
Do you get a notice that that's happening? Or
No, I was just you randomly check. Like I was literally at a bar and I was just randomly check. Oh, how are my books selling? And I couldn't believe it. Like I saw it was #1 in the whole store.
That's awesome.
So
How did you change your viewpoint, or has it changed on money and happiness, and like where you find happiness?
I think you realize over time how, you know, you look back and you say, oh my gosh, I've been unhappy for the past 10 years at least. So what has been common when I've been unhappy? And for the few moments of happiness, what things were I doing? Was I doing different? And you start to isolate. It happened to me so many times that I was, you know, making money, going broke. I probably made a lot and went broke 4 or 5 times. And so it was almost like I could statistically say, okay, I was doing these things on the way up and I was doing these things on the way down, and I should just stop doing these things that were happening on the way down. And so I just stuck with doing the things on the way up most of the time.
Time is great. And so you're doing the book, anything
Any
else?
businesses?
I'm not
Not doing the
I'm not
book.
doing any
Any
book
The
right now.
podcast you like to plug?
Yes.
This is that point where I'm supposed to say how you
Yeah,
find
Yes.
where can we find you?
Okay.
Yeah, we're...
Okay, here's how you find me. Google, I want to die. I used to be the number one. There's 36,300,000 results. I used to be number one of those 36 million. Now I'm probably number 2 or number 3 or number 4, depending on the cookies that Google has for you. But that's the easiest way to find me. I want to die. You just have to remember that phrase.
How did you come up with that?
Well, I didn't come up with it. That's Google. That's where I dominate search on Google. And I was number one, and a lot of people complained. And as far as I know, someone at Google told me this. As far as I know, this is the only time they manually change their algorithm. So if you Google now, I want to die, the first thing that comes up is the National Suicide Prevention Hotline.
Yeah.
But that wasn't there before. They manually made that number one so that I was number 2. And then after that, I was like number 3 or 4 for
Which
a
is
while.
also your phone number.
Wait. What was? Oh,
The
yeah.
suicide hotline. Yeah.
I have a joke. I have a joke for this, but I've never.
3, 4. You're number 5.
Number 5 for him.
Oh my God.
Probably because you've never Googled me before, or some cookie issue on your phone.
let's
It's
not-
gonna go
let's not
back. It's
end
gonna
with
go
a
back
fight.
up to number
Yeah.
2.
Yeah,
After this podcast.
Yeah,
hits.
I'm fighting to make it number 2 again.
And your podcast is called, or do you just want to keep it at...
No, it's called the James Altucher Show,
Okay.
and
You've had great guests, man.
yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
And I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. You can find me at Stand Up New York. I'm usually lurking around, but I'm also at Gotham and a couple other places. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll tag you on everything on our Instagram at Happy Never After Podcast.
Oh, I'm on Instagram too.
Yes, I follow you. He doesn't follow me back. And
Are you sure? I think I do follow you back.
do you?
Yeah.
All right. And then on Twitter, you're also on Twitter.
Yeah.
This
Jay
is like the
Altucher.
longest. So where can we find you? Let's sit down. And
I wanna
relax. I want to die. This makes me want to die. All right. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, Andrew T. Collin. Marshall, where can
Marshall?
we find you?
Soundlaunch.com.
You can also find me at Mara Merrick. Thanks so much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for...
Oh, rate and review.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
And listen to James's podcast. Okay, love you guys. Bye.